that was actually a little bit of if I take out this book, okay. That was actually a little bit of someone that I follow on here. So I'm just bringing a comment. Oh, look at that! It put YouTube. Oh, I see. Um, Recently, I mentioned that I follow a person on here who does music and who has a very unique singing voice. That's a bit of that person singing. Also, didn't see the dog. Is he over here? No, where is he? Just a moment. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Killer. And I'm right here. Okay. Killer. Okay. Killer. But nobody was here. Okay. Killer. I'm drooling. But there might be others that might not be any. But it's all good in the hood. So, I could have paced myself. It's true. I could have said, you know what, slow down for a few moments this morning, and look through the ideas of what you might want to bring into this next. But it's a bit of an impulse when rolling, and it conks like it froze, and then it just simply. I wish the charger was on this end where I'm sitting because it's reaching a little bit, but it is plugged in. It is charging. Yeah. Anyway, it had a little thing at the top saying the connection wasn't very strong, and sometimes it goes away after a few seconds. It wasn't. So, and I felt interrupted. Girl interrupted, yo. Just kidding. So no, I've never seen that movie. So I wanted to come back and continue. And there was some retention, even though nobody was really saying anything. Maybe they were thinking about it. There was some people that were sticking around for a bit. So by a bit, I mean a few minutes, but that's more than a few seconds, isn't it? That's a what did I call it this morning? A rhetorical question, as in rhetorical question, and also let me just look. This is annoying. I'm going to do it this way, even though the dog's being good, and as soon as I move, he moves, and I don't like the door behind me. Maybe I should just go to my usual location for right now. I can always come back here later. It's just that the cord is reaching, but I can't move very much with it, and I like a bit more range of motion options, and it was a little bit tight plugged in there. So I'm gonna want this. Actually, am I gonna want this? Actually, am I gonna want this? Actually, am I? Don't mind me. Unless you'd like to, then welcome to the minding of me. This doesn't say I saw that anymore. Okay, but I sure am. Ooh. I'm smoldering. Just kidding. I'm a bit warm though, so I'm gonna put this on. Unfortunately, things are a little messy here. And I also find, regardless of that, I often find that this thing, how far does it reach? Maybe here it's good. Kind of just beside me. I'm beside myself, what can I say? Hopefully you'll come alongside and join me. But it's a little too close, that fan, and it kind of, I like that. Even though I kind of feel it with that too, because it's a pretty strong air conditioner. It's a bit further away from where I'm sitting, and that's kind of nice. But that's all good. It's all good. You have to eat off for a couple of days. It's not been that cold out, so. Okay. So a needle pulling thread, which is like a needle pulling thread. And if anybody doesn't know that song, they must be very, very young and not introduced to theater. So let me introduce you. Let me entertain you. I don't know if that's how that song goes, but there you have it. But no, he said something. He said he didn't come up with it either. Um, and my one friend that sent me was active 25 minutes ago. Although sending him might bring him online. I'm wondering if that's the. I do want to say that kind of just on that phrase though, or do I? Maybe I don't. Covered it a little bit. Good enough. Don't want things to be misinterpreted. If I can help it. And I think I've probably had between those muffins, which weren't that great, and I thought I'd had them before, but maybe not that brand. I am again finding myself trying to decide if I want to tell a new friend about my YouTube. Right now, it still says that it's 26 minutes not active, but it also says that the message I just sent was seen. Oh, and it says it's active now. And it's much nicer when these are, when there's activity live. Plus, the other thing, I just want to test something for a moment here. Just see if this clips are working now. Doesn't look like it. Well, now I'm inviting him. I mean, it's not been that long, so somebody may still tune in. I guess we'll see. I mean, if he's not curious, sure, I will be a little bit offended. If he's busy, that's another matter. I think that he showed himself to be someone who is able to accept people are at different opinions and different kind of, I don't want to say educational backgrounds, but we could maybe say that, and he might be thinking it. And that truly, I was not trying to be mean with a couple of things I said last night, because it's true. I went to bed, and one of the things I thought, like I left my device down here and I wanted to sleep. But one of the things I wondered is, that last thing I sent, is that going to be misinterpreted? Is it going to react sensitively to it? And maybe I'll just very quickly mention what it was about. It was about the autism spectrum, to which he said there are the types are not what level of autism you are. They refer to support needs. Type 1 is low, type 2 is moderate, and 3 is severe, which makes sense. Although, when we're talking diabetes, apparently, from what I understand, I remember saying, am I hearing this right? And I seem to be being told yes. Type 2 is actually not as bad as type 1. I didn't invent it, folks. Ask God if you ever get the opportunity, or, try to find out yourself. But, well, I don't know if the messages are just being slow or what. Or if he's just thinking, well, if you want me to see it, you have to send me a link. And I did suggest a bunch of movies for him to check out that he can find for free on here. So, yeah, I don't know what else he's got going on. Seems to be pretty available to chat in the evenings, but I do think that seeing me in video helps people get a sense of me. I mean, it's the same with anybody, you know. When you only know them in written communication, then you get a chance to meet them in person or see them in video. You get more. In, it adds to the knowing them, you know, and it gives you a bigger pic. You know, also if you're talking about deep, complex stuff, I mean, and you're both being that way, I mean that can kind of help as well. This is seen. That one says sent but not seen. He's online. You know. What? Did it say seen? Sometimes devices are just slow for a moment. I don't know. Anyway. But I mean, I haven't been rolling that long. However, it is about 11 minutes in and nobody else is here. So, I mean, it's very tempting to want to bring somebody in. And once I start talking with somebody, it may or may not be who I'm referring to. So, and I don't know what they go by, what he goes by on here. Whatever. Um, so I'm just trying to decide. I want to keep talking because sometimes, even when I'm talking, um, I still find it's a little quiet in here unless I'm really talking passionately, I guess. Uh, I don't know if it's I noticed a little bit of my tinnitus. I noticed that running. But I also noticed that the radio varies. Like, you know, sometimes it can be quiet at parts and then it seems loud, even when it's not that loud. And I know what YouTube, you know, how YouTube would be like if, or, you know, I really need to listen to that too more. But, you know, yeah. It could be a bit more flashy, but I don't really have those skills and don't really feel like I need to. And some people are, and that's fine. But it will, you know, either be too specific what they're saying on the radio, or it'll be music that, you know, I am musical. I can do it myself. I don't need the radio to do it. I might want it for suggestions or, like I say, background noise. But I don't. Oh, that was the other interesting thing. Max's video earlier was that I'd mentioned, and I know it's kind of a unique name connected to a circumstance, but it still might be not really obvious what I'm referring to. Um, but um, this morning, the radio did have me thinking about somebody that I know named Noel who has been homeless. Now, I don't feel like a lot of homeless people necessarily live in boxes, but we associate that way. I do feel though that, you know, like they have their. I mean, I guess a lot of people maybe feel, oh, I'm sure he's going to cover things, you know, in a certain way. Even if I don't say it, I'm sure I'll get around to it. But that doesn't mean you can't get to it first. But um, they might make their signs out of cardboard. I actually thought I was hearing that noise again. I never noticed how noisy that thing is. Well, I can know that I did this, and I say, okay, well, maybe I'll send another one now. Because, you know, I somehow always find things to talk about. I don't know how. Um, you know, it's not like I usually live a super exciting life, but I always seem to find something to talk about. Even if other people aren't here chatting much. I mean, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, but I seem to always manage to find things. So, Really? But he kept. Kind of think I know where his head's at, and I'm not sure if mine's there right now. Some other time, maybe. I'm trying to figure out where mine's at. If it's even here. Might be here, but not all there. Just kidding. um, but what was interesting is to think that was that person's image, YouTube image, and name. But that was on what's his face's chat. That was early. Maybe if I see him on there again, I'll ask where he's from. But I don't know if I want to. I mean, like, it's not that he went by different things, which sometimes rather than not. But yeah, I mean, the day we can end it with him. He just opened the one I connected with him on hours prior. He's had struggles. Maybe he doesn't still, but unfortunately, some struggles are lifelong. Conditions. Um, and it might be fine today to be one of those days where it's kind of like um, I just kind of, when I was out and about the past couple of days, which, it may sound weird, but, when you don't have a lot of money and you don't drive and you don't like busing very much um, and you don't have much need to, you know, it actually doesn't look like it's all that windy out. So I've been really achy today, but if that subsides, I took a Tylenol, I think this morning, but I might end up having to take another one. If that subsides, maybe I'll go for a bike ride since it's not winter yet, but we'll have to see. But at the moment, I don't really feel like going anywhere, so here I am. I guess this is somewhere, it's true. But yeah, I might find myself kind of burning myself out, you know, jumping around and being slightly overwhelmed, but also intrigued and amused online by different things that the platforms are showing me, the couple that I use, and just, all that I find myself talking about. Like I say, on the base level, it can look like um, it can look like just my nose is running, but I guess it's kind of makes me easier to say. It can look like you know not that hard, but you try talking almost consistently for sometimes as much as 3 hours, or at least an hour. I mean, I suppose even teachers don't. I wouldn't say they do that because at some point they let the class work on assignments and stuff, which kind of makes me think to mention something, but from my memory, a couple things, but I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that I'd like to try and find some classes to join. And if emailing is working correctly, but do I have the energy since I tried to send it last night and it just didn't go through? Like, for instance, I found out that there is some art classes that I might be interested in and might want to take it with a relative. And I don't think she would mind, but it looks like it's at the end of her street, but not very close to me. Not far if I drove, but as I mentioned, I don't. And neither does G. So, And it's kind of funny what it's called, but it's not a drugstore store. But you know what it is? Sorry, I just had a hair tickling on my nose or something. I couldn't get it. Um, you know what? It's one of those things as people, we're going to have itches and scratches and stuff. Um, Anywho, yeah, it feels a little bit awkward to say, I'd like to go to this. And, she's not super physically able, but she might walk to it. But especially since the parking around there is not great. Like some places that are quite pretty good in washrooms, but some places really aren't, and they are better for like foot and maybe bike or busing, cabbing, or drop off kind of things. Um, but it feels a little bit awkward to have her come and get me. We'd also have to pay to take the class to practically go back there and then probably kind of feel like she just wants to go home afterwards, but having to bring me back. You know, I mean, it might be good for her to know about to take by herself, but it'd be great to find something that's a little bit beyond both of our areas to go to, and then along the way, kind of thing, right? And maybe that's why that message that I tried to send last night didn't send through. Um, that could have been nice, but it was early. I think I may have still been podcasting then, and yeah, I don't know. But I guess I sort of did suggest it. I think, but I know last time the feature didn't work, and I'm not really sure what I think. But that says 7. I'll go for a bit longer, for those that see after the fact, and just for me to go through the process of it. But if the conversation doesn't pick up soon, this is a shared device, and I've kind of got a few things open in this window, and the ones that have opened today, most of them being things that YouTube has showed me that some of it was intriguing. I need to, and I do have a few other windows open, but I kind of have certain ones on certain things, and a couple of them are playlists, and I'm working through them, and so I don't know where I'd put them, but or just got to watch them, and But then I sometimes have this tendency of like wanting to keep it open, hold on to it, for whatever reason. And it's one thing if I'm possibly gonna want to watch it later with G, but still I might find to do that. It's kind of like collecting movies. It's like we don't just get rid of the movies because we've seen them once. You know what I mean? But it can clutter things up, and he's kind of one that opens a lot too. But I'm worst. But part of that is that I am online a lot more. I am home a lot more. Uh, trying to get opportunities, trying to be there. You know, as a support to others and company for others, and get through this journey called life myself as well. So I mean, you know, and I am kind of suggestible. I am, I have a lot of things I kind of find interesting or think I might find interesting or whatever. So I mean, I'm not stupid, but I am suggestible. So suggest something. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Um, I'm just wondering where that one pillow is. Oh, right under my leg. But for now, I'm gonna put it here. So yeah, I mean, it might be nice to, especially if it is supposed to be raining on the weekend. And you start having to do work tasks. But today, I'm not stuck with anything particular to do. So other than, I mean, and it's not required that I do this assignment, but I'd like to try to look at it a bit. It's just, Um, I don't know what I was just talking about. I know I said I was going to look at something, but other than that, couldn't tell you. And I know I just said it too. Um, but I mean, I'm 24 minutes in, and I mean, it hasn't been. I haven't said a lot, but I haven't not either, and so I don't know. Hopefully, I find that what you've heard so far, some of it's been worthwhile being here for and hearing, and I'm just gonna kind of multitask a little bit because I did say that it's fine. Um, Interesting how we define things like exercise or in fitness and diagnosis and label. Like these are things that have been coming up in conversations lately. I think she sounds like she's doing something that doesn't have a particular time frame. Yeah, I saw it just a few minutes after it was sent, and she is online, but these messages don't say seen. And right above hers, it says unread, even though I've sent a couple quick replies to it. So I don't know why it says that. I don't know why it says it don't post either. But I think I did need to slow down a little bit there. It's the only thing about putting that there. Ugh, my leg almost got caught on the cord. And I do need to put this in the fridge too. And I still haven't eaten a ton, so I'll probably have lunch in a bit. But you know, so this is what my day looks like. Welcome. Not. I often say that when somebody has tuned in. Nobody is at the moment, but this is what it looks like today, folks. I'm pretty much around the house, unless I go out for, like I say, a bike ride. I think I'd rather go for a bike ride because I mean, in the winter, it's if it's a sunny, not super cool and windy day, although we do get quite the winters here, then it makes sense to walk. But there'll still be a lot of snow, and my bike. It's not for the amount of biking that I need to do or whatever. Even though I know I said I don't drive like busing, um, I don't really need to winterize it. I don't think. I'm not that. I don't like I say. I don't need to, and I'm not that drawn to riding in the winter. If I really had to, but I'd sooner wait and do something when certain someone I've been on about a little bit is finished her work day and she works half days and is pretty willing. I mean, some ways it's nicer to kind of just be on my own and get myself somewhere. But yeah, in the winter it's but it's not snowing yet. I mean, there's a lot of leaves on the ground, but so I think that a bike ride, if I start to feel a little less achy, might be a idea. And to remember, but try to think about too much because in one ways it's triggered, but in one ways it's not for the most part. But to remember that some people do not have the ability to bike, because of a disability or whatever. So, I should appreciate that I do. So, and yeah, sometimes drivers aren't great, but whatever. I'm not a perfect biker myself. Oh, he's jelly. I think I've seen him before, trolling in fancy shorts, and but it doesn't say I follow him. I don't know. I wouldn't have. Maybe it's somebody else that this kind of a little bit larger and is kind of dancing like that other guy. It's not like it's a unique dance style. Anyway, but yeah. So we shall see. But yeah, what does this is what the day looks like for me. It's like I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to talk about next because I'm podcasting. If you haven't noticed, and currently nobody has noticed, except there is actually a like there, but it doesn't look like the person stuck around. I don't know if they were here for a little bit, but um, I um, yeah, I all the reasons I sometimes guess it may not be personal. You know, uh, so yeah, and I'm trying to decide what I want to talk about next. And because I have a yeah, I have some interesting things here and some interesting things here, and I really don't. I mean, oh, I don't have to give more reason. It doesn't say they're watching, but I do notice I got a new comment. And back, nothing personal. Love your vibes and energy. Okay, thanks for the reassurance. Appreciate it. Yours ain't bad either. um, and yeah, basically, like I can talk about things like a conversation I've had with somebody without necessarily talking about that person, right? And I'm very tempted to, um, with a couple of recent conversations that I had. And somebody was briefly there. I don't know if it was Study Relax Meditate again or somebody else, but they've already left. Um, um, I really rather the answer to my qualm and query is in my friend Maxie's song or not. Uh, and he may not have done it today, but he was rolling for 2 hours, bright and early. Maybe he woke up, couldn't sleep because he was so hyped up about his party that he recently had that he a couple of days ago that he just was like, or maybe my guess is right. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. And if I roll really, really long, I'm very curious how heavy it might go. And it better be a lot. But yeah, just a song about decision making. And I've always been multitasking in the chat and never really, well, most of the time, never really actually processing the song. Um, oh, that one's live. I don't understand how a channel can be, like a show can be live, but on YouTube. I guess things are just filmed directly to YouTube these days. And I'm kind of intrigued by that combination. Um, I just want to check something quickly. Only 35 minutes, so it's probably going for a bit longer. I'm missing a comment of this guy's, or doesn't look like it. He's saying to this guy in chat, that reminds me, I'm going to go do a particular sport in a week at in Colorado. Excited, much needed R&R. Then he sends stripper. Guess that's part of the R&R? I don't know. Could be, I suppose. That's a funny joke. Kind of a little awkward, actually. I made it around my mother, but a joke. It reminds me of a joke that kind of came up the other day. Um, and if he's mentioned something, then yeah, I know I mentioned that very lot, but I ain't hearing it because I'm doing this. But I feel like there's an and in there, but I kind of feel like that there isn't. Anywho, okay, so we'll see what happens with that and that. In the meantime, what's happening with this and my day? Um, I don't know. And that's kind of part of the problem. Well, not problem, but I would like to do some creative writing. And one of the things I'd like to do in that area is write a parody. And I have a song idea that I kind of want to utilize. And I just have to process, like I'm not well established in like Weird Al or anything like that. And I mean, but as far as it's not a cover. It's more than doing a cover in your own unique way. It's somewhat quite changing the original. But anybody who's familiar with the original would know what it's based on. Um, I think that should be allowed on here, and I would hope so, because it's a fun and creative thing to do sometimes. And I have this idea that I kind of want to work with, and maybe even collab on, but I'm not too sure. Um, not too sure about if I should do it on here. But if I did it, I'd wanna share it. So, um, yeah. But yeah, I'm getting a lot open here to sort through. Whoops, what's that? I don't know. And it's actually surprising that I don't actually get ideas to do parodies all that often because I do find them kind of fun. Then, like I say, I'm also sort of wanting to talk a little bit about a couple of recent conversations that were kind of interesting topics and thoughts that might be kind of. And I'm just feeling very aimless, I guess you could say. Like I don't know what I want to do next in this. I do know that if Thomas comes in here, it might only be briefly, and he might contribute because he doesn't seem too shy. And if he does, then that'll be the focus, and that's fine. Because clearly, I'm not set in it being one thing or the other super strongly at the moment. Um, I do want to put that there, and I don't know. Just very quickly, I'm just gonna see what the dog's up to and put my coffee in the fridge. And try not to pull that cord. Ugh. You being good out here? Yeah. Ugh. I will. One thing I do want to do is have lunch soon. I mean, truth be told, I really haven't eaten much. If I would have been a cop, I would have had not for dog. Actually, the furthest thing from for dog, chocolate. And it would be better than that. Put that up. Kind of craving this meal a little bit, and hmm, hmm. The question is, it's really unfortunate I didn't catch my friend, and I was quick replying to her, but she was just at home, briefly cooking something before going to the gym. Um, so I kind of felt I don't know if she has a routine, but with her lifestyle, with kids and work and such, she probably just does it when she can. It's actually very admirable that she does do it, actually. Um, and again, this could be anybody. I'm not saying who it is, and I'm also not saying she should be embarrassed. But she is actually an amputee. Has could be from neuropathy or diabetes or something, and so she's but she stays active, so that's good. And I don't want to hinder that, but it did sound like one of those things, like she only mentioned that plan. So I says to her, maybe it sounded like she didn't have any plans between um, now and then, and or between other than that until her kids get home, and whether she drives, I don't know, and whether she picks them up or goes with her husband and picks them, or whatever, or they get themselves home. I don't know, but then things might be a bit busier for her. So it felt like she may have been able to watch while she ate before she left, or that she could kind of just push back leaving. But she left before she kind of seen me suggesting it, or even mentioning that I was rolling. So it is what it is. Wouldn't bother me so much if there was other people here enjoying it, but right now there isn't. So um um This is really weird though. I told somebody in their chat, in somebody's chat, I said I was already rolling. I came to another tab for a moment, noticed that he is rolling, just saying hi, and if you'd like to go back and forth between the two. And then and apparently his English isn't great. He might be Russian. I'm not sure. Uh, I've actually heard the last part of that name. Two people with the same first name that have a lot of similarities to each other. And the dog is distracting me, so just a moment. He's going upstairs. You don't mind. You didn't have to, but you wanted on. I didn't quite realize, and it's probably still not as warm as it's going to get yet. It's not 11 o'clock even yet. I hadn't quite realized there was something else I wanted to take care of up there. So I've done that. Well, actually, I still didn't finish that muffin. It's one bite, even if it's not that great. I'll have half of it because that's how it goes. Oh, wait a minute. Just kind of push it up right. I didn't see it the other day. I must have just below that rock. But the background's streaming along. Seems to really want to do so. Oh, well, um, says, who else streams like the person who's chatted is? I would like to participate. That was after me mentioning that I was streaming to connect with our community. Cool. I communicate better through music. Okay. I'm noticing a little bit. No, not being mean, but my English is basic. Okay. I only know it, English, but I installed an English dictionary. Progress, and I'm still improving. Okay, I told him how to find it, so hopefully he'll find it. um, and be a good person. I'm not super familiar with the person, but hopefully, that's the energy I put out. So nice when it's the energy I get. And pretty much it is. I either get it or I get none from anybody. Especially on this platform, but kind of in general. But on the other platforms, the people that I communicate with, I'm at least a bit more familiar with. Although I do have a bit of a following on here. Um, you know, this channel was active for a while, then it went dormant, then it's been active again, and I'm sure that some of the people that follow, passed away either during the pandemic or otherwise, um, or life stuff, And there's just so much on YouTube. There really is. Like I say, I went to the main page, and I think before starting this one, it was like YouTube suggested something on the newsfeed. So I opened it and opened a new tab to try and do all this again, and it suggested something else kind of interesting. I'm not clicking things I wouldn't be possibly interested in, eh? And then that happened like 3 or 4 times. And then It's happened a few more times in between videos, and maybe even a couple times during this, and I couldn't remember why, but it has. So there you have it. Like I said, first I saw Maxie's, then I saw Tara's, then I saw one, and I should have clicked that the one it showed me because because when I went to the new tab to bring it up, the first two results are not it. I searched what the words actually embedded in the video said. And the first one it found is actually somebody I've noticed on YouTube a bit, but I think I've only watched one or two of her videos. And I can't remember, and it wasn't super long ago, but not super recently. I can't remember what I thought. I know her topics seem intriguing. I'm a little curious, but I seem to remember hearing her say something that I thought was quite either wrong or inaccurate in my view, or just confusing. And sometimes I know I would never want somebody to do it with my content. I'd rather they ask if they are unsure or confused. But sometimes I do kind of get stuck in that, well, then I guess I just won't watch their content anymore. But, sometimes I can get past it. And, it's just like I say, whether we want to call it sensitive or not, it kind of makes me think back on this topic of judgment that I was speaking about in the other video, alluded to. I didn't get much into it because I had to wrap up at the time, put a bow on it. But it's very interesting, like I'm a pretty big thinker, as you could probably tell, and I am curious about a lot of stuff, and I but every now and then it's kind of like I have a certain thought, and it's like, how have I not thought of that before now? you know um Still quick. Just a moment. And the one I'm kind of alluding to is that we judge what we I mean, some people just judge with not much good reason behind it. A lot of times, though, I think all of us at times will judge what we don't understand. What we. I wonder if I can see how many afterwards with the average relay one. I don't know how long we go to take on this one, but we judge what we don't understand. Um, or what we might, yeah, we might confusing. It doesn't make sense. Sometimes something we're very against. So it's understandable. And, to have opinions, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes it's hard to get past those feelings. But just to kind of very briefly talk about a dream I had last night, maybe. It was like in a lecture room at a college or university, which is kind of like I had a very kind of critical mother, and she's not as much that way now, but it's hard to look past the fact that when you did a nice thing like play a gig at a senior's home and people seem to enjoy it and you seem to enjoy yourself, for her to say something, and it was a bit of a long car ride, and most of it was awkward quietness. She says, well, I would have picked more this kind of. I mean, we tried to be diverse and we played sing along songs and slightly older songs, but she was suggesting, and also, and she was like this with my grandpa too and grandparents. It's kind of like, well, that's not the kind of music they like. Well, but how much have they been exposed to it? Maybe they would simply like it, and that's what I should have said then, actually, but I don't think I ever did. Maybe they would have liked it because I'm doing it and I'm their grandson, you know. And I know from heaven that they probably do, but it's kind of like, and that. But I think at the time, no, at the time that this occurred, they both had passed. So it's just handling it different now that I'm thinking about it now as opposed to then. Do I want to bring this up again? Part of it would be in hopes of an apology that she might not give, because she is. That was one of the other difficult things about her. Is she's kind of one of those ones that doesn't really say sorry very much, or not in a timely manner, and then it feels like it's too long ago. She she's saying it for, I don't want to say ulterior motives, but with less genuine behind it. You know, one of those kind of situations, like, well, I'm saying it because you're my son, and I want to keep you in my life, and even if this is not verbalized, and you know, um, you are saying you want some distance from me now, uh, because of what you feel I have, or what you're saying I've made you feel, by the things that I've done, which I only try to help, this and that, right? And that's, and a lot of people would probably call that narcissistic, gaslighting, this and that, and I might as well. But you know what? I am thankful, for the most part, that we have somewhat reestablished. It's never going to be like what it was, but it was never perfect. And very few things in life are, to be honest, right? But compared to some parents and their kids, including adult kids, my relationship with my mother has never been the way that I think. I'm sure. Same with family in general, and some people probably relate to that, you know. Um, but I would kind of say that it's a little bit more those other ways. The little that I'm seeing or interacting with her now, I mean, I notice that she sometimes seems to be a little slow to process very basic things, as she's getting older. And yesterday was perfect, except for the fact that the initial place that we wanted to go for lunch at was in a hotel, and they closed, and there was an event happening there. But I guess there's often events happening at in the different booking rooms, and they closed at like 2 o'clock. They said we're only open for another 5 more minutes. So I went to another place, and yes, it is also connected to a hotel. But I mean, we used to go on weekends mostly. It's true, um, and apparently they did used to be open more. But we got there and practically got the same thing. So we ended up at another place we hadn't been in ages, and that was not connected to a hotel. And we had a lovely lunch, and we had a. But there was something that happened the previous day. A couple small things. I can't remember the details. Well, one of them was I was wearing shorts that were a little bit more stretchy than I had remembered, and a shirt that wasn't very long. But then she gave me this one. but and I had some leftover food, which I'm probably going to have shortly. Um, and I was leaving it in the car, and I turned back around to tell her, remind me when I get in the car, or put it up on the seat or whatever, uh, because she wasn't going to be coming to either of our homes in between. But it was stuff. I ate the stuff out of it I was most worried about. The rest was really just rice and Asian noodles. So, I mean, I thought that can sit out for a bit. And if I happen to get sick, I don't have any plans mostly now until next Wednesday. So basically, but I says to her, make sure that I either don't step on it or put it up. She said, okay, and pull your shorts up, because they were starting to slide a little bit. I mean, my opinion on that kind of thing, by the way, is if you're comfortable, if you're not, a thug and a gang member, and if you are, nobody's watching right now, but if you are, you know, I would ask yourself, is that the lifestyle you really want to be living? Are you really happy to be doing those things? Or is there some other things you'd like to try in your life? And perhaps you have tried and you haven't succeeded, and that's why you just kind of, and I'm not saying that style is lazy, but you just kind of are a bit more wild, for lack of a different way of putting it. Um, and I can understand that, and I can understand how sometimes you just don't feel like trying anymore because things sometimes don't work out and life's hard. But you can still be a good person. I'm it's actually open right now. I am hesitant to reach out to somebody because of something she's been going through because of somebody else. And I thought to myself before I was rolling this video, actually, I thought to myself, and I mean, I don't do it that way, it wasn't even hugely intentional. And if it was, so what? If that, I mean, I know it's maybe one thing coming from a parent. I don't know, but still, some parents wouldn't care, and it's not like, but again, and it's not like it's all the time. So, I mean, I don't know. So it was kind of going back to our old ways of finding something to kind of comment about, be critiquing about, um, trying to improve me for you know so that but really it was her own embarrassment or her own thinking I wouldn't be doing that, you know. But and she was in the car. But so I don't remember if there was one other little thing. Oh, like she was like, oh well, yeah. When we left the one place, I wanted to go around back. I mean, but maybe she had. Well, she didn't say. I just went that way while you were in your meeting, and it's like very short streets and bays, and we're gonna have to be on the busier roads anyway. She didn't say anything like that. When I said I want to go see what's behind this. She said, "Well, it's just the back lane." I said, "But beyond that, like the residential area, I'm just curious. I don't come this way very often, or whatever." She's like, "Well, I don't think you can, and I don't think there's very much." So, she was making objections, right? But and then once we actually did, yeah, it was a short street, and then it was one of those ones that's kind of like a shape of a T, and to go that way very far would have went way out of the direction we wanted to go. So yeah, we ended up back on the busier road. She did do it. She did do it. But like she hemmed and hawed about it too, But yeah, no, I would just say, are you living truly how you want to live? Or have you succumbed to peer pressure and perhaps a rough lifestyle because your life has been rough? Because but yeah, but again, it doesn't always mean thug or gang member either. It can just mean you like the feeling or the look or the style of wearing it that way, or you're trying to be whatever it is, and it's not necessarily bad. But but yeah, no, I mean, and this whole written wrong thing. I mean, yeah, that that guy, should not have done like that. Definitely shouldn't have. And thankfully, it happened to me. And some people are so impulsive and either don't know or don't care about the right from wrong. But I think we should all try and find reasons to care, to be trying to do the right thing. I mean, some things the definition's a little bit looser, and some things very obviously it's right or it's wrong, folks. You know what I mean? But anywho, so that's something I want to watch. And there's a song, and then there's a couple of those voice pop shows. Then there's a song I thought of earlier today that I kind of want to parody. Then there's an interpretive dance of the song I was thinking of. Then there's another song. Then there's The Price is Right. Then there's this. I don't know if he said something, and I mean, again, I said I was rolling, but maybe you think you're. I don't know if you're still rolling or not, but he may or may not be saying, you know, he plugged somebody up with me. He was like, I asked, but I mean, but obviously this guy's kind of interested in doing so. I almost want to spell it a certain way, but um, I don't think there's anything beyond that. But so speaking of the food, I mean, still though, for the most part, it's been an enjoyable couple of days with that relative, and she hasn't been too difficult to be around or too delulu, as the people like to say these days. So I'm happy about that. um, so yes, I will probably have lunch soon. But if anybody has a song request or topic, like I say, I guess what I could say is there's a couple conversations. I might just want to talk about the topics that the conversations were about. And somebody there for like a minute or two, but I don't think you're still there. But it could be inaccurate and you might actually be still here because that happens. And I see the number again. So welcome. Glad to have you to the channel, by the way. And if you'd like to say whether you've ever been to the channel before and how you came across it, I'd love to know that. Let me just quickly check something here. I shouldn't toggle too much, but I like it. Toggling is so much fun. Anywho, maybe I'll do a little bit from both. Just if I do that, I've kind of already laughed about some of the stuff. I do want to process the conversation a bit more, though, and look at that. I should call about that too. Because if I don't do it today, I'll have to do it Monday because I can't on the weekend. But I don't have any plans Monday, I don't believe. Um, so one thing I kind of want to do is just kind of have some laughter, with the rest of this as well as music. If you have a song request, I do have some ideas as to some things that might be amusing as far as that goes. And the person that was there looks like you've left. And what is it like? Is it like, oh, I don't do laughter? Some people truly don't, and I don't know how they make it through their days or their life. I mean, sure, some days I laugh more than others, but I mean, some people are just very, very serious people, or at least they come across that way, but maybe they're laughing on the inside. I mean, I've even noticed myself. Um, for watching. Okay, I think this one particular person I'm trying to bring over to this video maybe a little closer to getting here. I almost thought they had been here. Um, but yeah, you know, some things really should be taken seriously in life and are hard and not funny. But other things, I mean, seriously, again, I do think that some people could stand to, and it can be hard to kind of find the joys in life sometimes, right? I sort of want to do this over here again, maybe later today. I mean, it's still early. And I'll let the dog up too and look at all this stuff and all that stuff. But, oh, but, but they are there, folks. And you can, well, I don't know how to say that, so hopefully I'll find it. If it doesn't. Um, you know, and it occurred to me too earlier that in some ways, sometimes, a lot of the time, a person is doing it to deal with, and actually, if I'm achy and sore, biking may or may not help that to get my body moving. But when you have arthritis, like sometimes nothing really will help it much. It's a issue with the muscles and the bones, right? But can't remember what I was saying. And the person who might tune in to this shortly has some English different struggles apparently. So I'm going to try and be patient with that. Like I say, it's my only language, and patience can be hard sometimes. That's for sure. Especially when you feel like you've been being patient in a lot of areas of life, and you're ready to not have to wait for certain things anymore. And but with that volunteer op, it sounds like French is not necessary, and so I might be able to do it. I need to talk with G a little bit more about it, I think. Um, but what I'm thinking is that I'm going to focus. I don't know. I just can't decide. It's a both. I can't decide if there's one I'd rather do more than the other. I can't decide which one I'd rather do when nobody's watching and which one I'd rather wait to see if somebody does. And it's also a matter of, and that was perfect timing, it's also a matter of which one do I pick first. Like I say, if I could summarize this, the one topic is kind of psychology based, but also a lot of funny playing with words, I guess you could say, which may or may not be difficult for someone whose English isn't great. And the person left, and if it was them, but either came back, somebody else is here. And the other one, oh, hi, Thomas, how are you? Woohoo! Glad you found it. Glad to have you here. So I kind of want to talk on that. I kind of want to take song requests, and I noticed that Tizaki was saying you're into rock and roll music. I have been podcasting quite a bit today, and I did another little thing, and it's still early, and I've also done a lot of writing and thinking, all tiring things, but having a nice chat, being able to share my talent can be energizing. So I might do one or two songs. If you have a song request, I'd be happy to try and do it. But other than that, yeah, I'm kind of, and if I can't decide, because they're both good choices, and you just struggle to decide, there isn't anything wrong with sometimes doing both. When it's good things, there really isn't. So, and like I say, this one chat I had with a friend, I can do it. Where's your guitar? By the grand piano, actually. um, something to know about this channel, and hopefully you'll like and subscribe. And Mr. Beast 2, hey, you're back. Mr. Breast 2, I didn't know you were here before. I guess you were here but didn't say anything. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's over there. I'm the remote. What? The universal remote that doesn't control the universe even remotely? No. Sorry, I changed. What? Just a moment here. I'm confused. Although your name does look familiar. I think I noticed one of your videos. What did you used to go by? Because the remote doesn't sound familiar. But today, I think I don't recognize your image. Maybe it was just a similar name. And I think that sounds kind of familiar. Love the new username. Makes me think of a place I went by the other day for the first time in ages. Um, we got 3 of you here, though, and maybe I'll wait on that. If you have a song request, I'd like to do it. At first, I thought you were a troll. And yes, I do. I am saying I play guitar too because it's over there. However, there is 2 people that. You got y'all still here? Sorry, the tab conked out, and then it let me reconnect, thankfully, and keep rolling. That's cool. And it looks like are all still here, so that's great. I'm here, but I'm not all there. What can I say? Just kidding. But yes, as I mentioned, I forget where in the world you're watching from. The both of you, I'm curious. All 3 of you, if you'd like to say. And remember to like and subscribe if you haven't, although I think you maybe have. I can't unsee that word in your name. But yeah, I mean, I have a guitar, but it is a shared channel, and the other person can pick up any instrument and do pretty good with it. No, I didn't. I just said I didn't recognize it. I can kind of tell it's some sort of animal. But I am the primary guitar player. My arthritis is a little bit flaring up. You know, playing guitar does not necessarily prevent arthritis, and in some ways, playing an instrument might even cause it a little bit. You showing me what? Thomas, are you still here as well? Please wait for what? Are you showing me breasts? Just kidding. Yeah, so I was going to say that, and I want to answer you, and I don't know how long Mr. Breast 2, or is it 2 breasts, would want me to wait. You know what? They can pick up from the 118 mark in the playback, but I'm going to keep the momentum going, and I'm so glad that, you know, once you 2 got here, even though it conked, it came back. You know, Mr. Breast 2 will come back in when they comes back in, and that's fine. The channel is about music, but it's also about psychology. It's very, very free spirited. You know, uplifting each other, wellness, mental health. I don't remember your image being a remote before, but that's cool. Then you guys are watching remotely, I presume. I don't even know if I know. I mean, I guess I do because I've done it, but I don't remember how to do that. Anyway, so yes, if you have a song request, please request it. It looks like something else, honestly. It also looks a bit like a guitar neck. If you have a song request, please request it. But other than that, I want to share a bit more humor based on a conversation I had with somebody earlier that I don't mind talking about here. But also, if any of you would be interested in the topic, I was talking with someone the other day about labels and diagnoses and being authentic. And I think those are all great topics, and we could talk about them a little bit. I don't have to say who I was talking to, you know, but I can bring some of the stuff that we talked about into it. As far as music, I don't have any ideas right now. So unless you guys give me some, ain't got any. I do have one that just popped in mind, but I don't really want to do it. You on your way again, Mr. Breath? Man, those breaths are distracting. Sorry. Like I say, no filter. I will say, though, Mr. Breath, and to the other two, I probably am not going to roll super much longer. It's been a podcasty morning. I'm kind of wanting lunch soon, and I have a bunch of things I want to focus on. But I would like to, because, as time goes on, conversations will go on, and I won't necessarily think to or look back at some of those other conversations, and I do want to talk about them. So aside from music, which I can do, the other things that I mentioned there, what intrigues you the most? What topic would you like? Pick your own adventure kind of style. And I'm curious if people would like to say where they're watching from, how old they are, and all that good stuff. I'm just going to top up my water. Top of the water to ya. What, somebody say Ireland? That sounded a little Irish to me. Irish Timmy? You're like, and my name is Tim. I'm like, no way, Jose. And my brother's name is Jose. Anyway, don't mind me. I'm in an amazingly good, happy, silly mood. Why are you saying you're back? Remember you again? Didn't we just do that a few minutes ago? Unless you're trying to be funny, trying to play along with my hyper silly mood. So I don't know if you caught what I said when I was in the other room, but I'm, and that's the thing. Whether English is an issue or not, you catch what you catch, you don't what you don't, as far as what's being said. I do realize, and especially when I'm kind of feeling giddy, that I may or may not be hard for some people to keep up with. Slow me down by suggesting a semi-mellow, semi-fast song, perhaps, song with a bit of both. It was like 3 weeks ago. Yes. It was maybe a little less than 3 weeks ago, but no, it was also, you said that like in this podcast. Trying to mess with my mind or what? So that's been the humor. Let's go to a serious topic until songs are requested. Remember to like if you haven't liked. I appreciate it. I can tell you're enjoying the chat and watching. Likes go a long way, and when people see it afterwards, because unfortunately, some people, they'll go by, okay, this thing was this long. How many likes does it got? How many views does it got? Blah, blah. But I don't delete any chat, by the way. And I usually, but not always, have it set to keep the live chat available afterwards. But sometimes I still don't see it. But, I believe that people should decide for themselves. Click in. Try not to judge too quickly and decide if they're interested in it. I'm a very diverse person. However, some people are going to say, oh, it's only got 2 likes. Can't be that good. We don't want them to miss out, right? Because it seems like you think it's not bad. So remember to hit the like button. And I think you've already subscribed. So, although Thomas may not have. So, and it's not, but I don't know if it's just a delay or undid it or being wonky. I know that the YouTube changed that a little bit too. They have different symbols they show with it now, and the icons look a little bit different. But I got one over here. You changed your name back too. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't remember it being spelled quite that way before, but I kind of do. And it means something to you. Honestly, I think it's a kind of an odd sounding name. As distracting as the 2 breasts were. And again, free spirited, it's the internet. You got to expect it sometimes. Don't like it, you got to look past it, people. But you guys seem to like my energy, so I appreciate it. but I think it was late. We don't have to focus on when you were here before so much. We can focus on the fact that you're here now. Okay, the here and now. Um, but I don't know what to make of that message. Why are you saying channel randomly? Are you asking me to channel? Don't, I don't want to be waiting forever for your comments, but don't rush your comments too much. Hey, I mean, they can be more than a couple words at a time or so, and then it'll be a bit more clear what you're saying. Um, are you Dawn's kid? Is your mother Dawn? And I don't know if I should ask how old you are, but since you seem to be kind of in the mood to do so, might I suggest you come up with another username? Because to be quite honest, I'm a little triggered by this one, and I don't remember what it means. I remember I looked it up, and I don't remember it being spelled exactly that way. Uh, but Mr. Breast 2 was kind of all right, or there's something else. Uh, 1 minute. Um, so, when a little bit earlier I was talking about, and I know sometimes thinking of songs to request is not actually as easy as one thinks it might be. Cool. And at the moment, the only one. So I really appreciate having someone to chat with. I'm not going out today. So, I mean, I do live with somebody who's still working for a number of hours, and I do have the dog, and I do have myself. But it's nice to meet people here on the internet as well. So I'm not sure if I should ask how old you are. And I am curious where you're watching from in the world. And why you're using your mom's channel and editing things on it. Really? Really? Well, okay. It's the way the world is these days, and I'm not saying it's completely bad or it's completely good, but I feel that I'm a good influence on the younger generations. And if your parents ever say, "Who is this guy you're watching?" I mean, maybe they don't care what you watch, or maybe they, I don't know, decide for themselves about the vibe. But I'm about good vibes, healing, educating, entertaining musically, and I'm a good person, and I'm happy that you're here. And somebody else also just tuned in. Um, I'm not entirely sure. I might even actually know your mother because one of my friends just messaged me that she was watching for a little bit, and her daughter is home. I think she said daughter is homesick. But what kind of practice? Uh, um, maybe it's not then because I don't think you'd be going to a practice if you were sick. But I will just say something that makes me think of. And I'm not sure. There was two people here. Now there's one. So I'm not sure which is the one that's still here. So I'll wait to find out. Okay, soccer. Okay. Oh no, what? Okay, let me just double check. Although I know that, sometimes, people are trying to explore what that can mean for them. No, yeah, she said. Okay. Um, I just want to, and I know I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, sometimes I don't have a filter. I'm not super used to being around kids. I don't have a large local living family, and I'm not. But um, I know that some kids and teens have difficulties with their parents, and I'm not sure what you're like with your parents. Um, and a little earlier, I was talking about my mother. Actually, um, I can't not think of that age and not also think of the fact that I was that age when one of my parents was passed away in an auto accident. Um, so I'm in my adulthood now, and as I was saying to someone the other day, it's never it's never a great thing. We can always wish that those kind of things didn't happen. When they say time heals, it's not completely true and it's not completely not true. Like going through something like that at such a young age, and then having to go the rest of your life, I don't know why you're saying that twice, but without them is obviously hard, right? Um, but I do feel like I have a bit of a spiritual connection with my dad, and that's special to me. Um, and it's one reason why, even though my mother is also harsh and she will eventually die, the thought of losing her is hard for me. I'm also not close with my step that much, but so if your parents ever ask about me, you could say, "Oh, he told me to love you. He just told me to love you and cherish you." And I don't know how they take that. They might say good, and so respect what I say and do it now and get tears. Yeah, me too. My dad's so fun. Hope you have a great day today. Yeah, I don't have a lot planned. I may or may not go for a bike ride. I'm gonna have some good food, I think, but well, I'm not gonna eat anything that good. Um, and yeah, I have a question. I do have one other question before you leave, and I'd really love to talk on those two topics. But if your team's going to be missing you playing soccer, then you should get to that soon. But before we wrap this up, I have a curious question. And you probably associate with adults quite often. But if there was somebody, if there's something you'd like to ask me, can you give me a tip? What kind of tip? If there is something that you'd like to ask me about life and about what getting older is like, I mean, I can only speak to my experience and my journey, but if there is anything that you'd like to ask me, um, I'd be happy to try and answer. And we got a second person here as well. Not sure if you've ever been to the channel before or how you came across it, but welcome. Happy to have you here. I've been rolling for a little while. I think the one person in chat right now has intended to like, but I think that like was already there before they came in. Or maybe the feature is being wonky right now, but glad to have you both here. I am a little tired. Probably had as much coffee and sugar as I want to have. I don't understand life like celebrate. I don't know what that other emoji was. It's okay. I just don't understand life and like more stuff. Kind of vague, dude. Well, 100% in hearts. Is that coming from you, Kusanad, or the other viewer? It's and actually like isn't an option in the emoji section. It's just under the video an option, right? But that's what I was also referring to. But I appreciate those, regardless of who they were coming from. But I'm curious. But yeah, that's a little vague. I just don't understand life and like more stuff. And remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell too. Can you be more specific before you leave? I'll say a quick little whatever comes to mind about it. You'll go play your sport and have a great day, and we'll see each other on here again later. I'm a little late. Okay, in my car. Are you watching with headphones? Out of curiosity, because I don't think you drive. I would kind of hope you don't. And yeah, I don't want to make you late. Think no, my mom and dad listening. They think you're cool. Or yeah, they don't know anything. I'm sure they know a few things though. So, and as for the second person that we got here, um, do you have a song request? Would you like to hear a bit of comedy? Would you like to talk about labels and being authentic and diagnoses? These are things I've got floating in my head right now. Would you like to talk about an assignment that I'm not required to do for a workshop, but want to try and do and feel a little stuck? Would you like to help me with that? Anything you'd like help with? I know those were a lot of options all at once, but picking one or two would have been just fine. I understand that the one had to leave and the other one, but now, even though they did seem to forget to like, obviously the conversation is there, and but again, crazy sounds like that sounds like a couple things, not like it. So yeah, think of some other things you might want to change your channel name to. I'd be curious what you come up with. I've got to laugh, and I thought you'd laugh. I've got to laugh with what you went by, knowing what I know now. Not entirely surprised, but and yeah, okay, you're at your practice. Have a good one. Take care. I guess it's not a game; it's a practice. But oh, and thanks for the like. I think you just did that. So I've enjoyed your company today. I'm glad you've enjoyed mine. Like I said, I don't have a ton that I'm doing next, but I really would like to get out. And oh, it looks like it could be kind of windy though. But yeah, he's a kind of friend, but I don't think I would say kind of don't if you're still watching, because I mean, every now and then, one that I'm familiar with, I don't mind chatting, but having a whole bunch of 11-year-olds watching my video might feel a little bit awkward to me. And also, you know, some parents might not mind, some parents might. I mean, the truth is like I say, I have no filter, but neither does the world. Neither does media, you know, and lots of people success, doing all kinds of stuff, succeed, and I'm ready to be one of them again. But yeah, I mean, it's that's just how I am, how I roll, literally. When I do live stream, I mean, part of me would like to keep rolling though. Part of me, I think the longest one I've ever done, and it's not the longest one out there. I saw one that was really, really long, and it got trimmed to 7 hours, I think. Not mine. But somebody, and I don't know if they did it or YouTube did it. And I don't have that kind of stamina. I could tell you that much right now. But the longest one I think I have done has been about 3 hours. And I don't have anything hugely that I'm rushing to. I mean, I could be one of those podcasters that eats while I'm rolling. It's a little bit awkward, but is it really any more awkward than sharing a meal with someone? Sure, we don't know each other, but whatever 2H is, it sounds like maybe their 2 hour podcast. See, this one says member. Oh, right, that, right. Yeah, so, it's no different than sharing a meal. It's just you might not be eating as well, and it's on screen. So I don't mind doing it hugely. It's just would I rather kind of just do some things on my own now and decide what I might podcast about later this afternoon, and and yeah. Um, Hi, I'm back. Hope you're enjoying your podcast. Yeah, it was nice. It picked up in the conversation a little bit, but I don't know. Actually, I'm kind of curious if this one. Because I like the fact that when I'm rolling, even though I could get myself into some chats in, another message spots, whoops. I like the fact that at least he didn't have to. That's like, I guess I feel very mixed. Like I'm just old enough to where I have grown up with technology and don't mind it, but I didn't have it when I was a, uh, not quite but almost teen. I didn't, you know. I mean, we had computers, but I don't even remember cell phones that much, to be honest. We had phones, obviously. I don't know if laptops, tablets, none of that stuff was big, and I feel so old to think it. And I'm late 30s. Um, but there you have it. But okay, I'm still kind of curious, and it looks like they're back, but tagging isn't working. Oh, 2 hour practice. I don't know why tagging not working. Why that's that much weird. Which makes me think that's telling me whether, even though this isn't exactly a music practice, it makes me think it's telling me to roll for not another 2 hours necessarily, but at least, because the chat increases, the likes increase, the blah blah blah. For another. I know I'm a good person. I'm a good influence, and I'm not doing anything wrong. So with that one, and I believe this one. Although it seemed to be one less than I thought earlier, and now the new prompt. I don't know what that means. But I didn't. At least it didn't open those queues, because that is the thing. Is that sometimes when it crashes and reopens, it doesn't keep the queue, but sometimes it doesn't, or at least curl the queue. So we do have somebody. It looks like, and I must say I am tired. So if I did this, I'd be pushing myself uh, for your viewing pleasure. And I do have some topic ideas, and otherwise could do song requests. Uh, so tell me, uh, tell me what you might like to hear, um, and I will see what I can do. But that doesn't always say that when we go for tab. As soon as it came back, it's not there. Curious songs, especially. And like I say, I don't have any ideas. Um, let's have a look. I just typed something in the chat and then I didn't verbalize it, but the person, it's not saying they're here, but the comments there um, responded in a comment. And my friend may or may not still make it here. A couple of them possibly. Oh, it's about 12 o'clock here, and in about an hour and a half, I will quickly call G. So I should, if this needs to be plugged in, nope. And other than that, I don't know. Um, I guess when I started this podcast, although I did it with a very kind of, as I do, free style type of approach, I didn't necessarily have anything particular, um, or you know, and it is, based on the topic, what or if it's if it's obvious what the topic is from the title, and I try for it to be, it's what it's what the viewers want to talk about around that topic. We got a fifth like, and I appreciate that a lot. And I'm curious if you've ever been to this channel before. I should wait and give you a moment to comment because that might answer the question, or how you came across this. It's part of my spiel. What can I say? Um, but I do have a couple of ideas that if you'd like to chat, let me know in the chat, and you can help me pick which one. And if you have song requests. And other than that, I'll roll for another maybe possibly just 15 minutes, possibly 30, at most probably 45. We'll see. Um, and yeah, um, and then I'll have some lunch. I mean, really, I haven't had a lot to eat today, and it probably would be good for me to do so. And my arthritis is quite, or whatever it is that's making me sore is quite noticeable. Um, I might take one down. I think it was this morning I put a lot of Voltaren on, but I had to find the other one, which is actually better, or buy more on the weekend, but it's supposed to rain, I think. And it looks quite windy. We got two of you here, so that's great to see. I just said the spiel to the one of you, so I'll wait to see which or both of you come in. Okay, and I'm hoping the other one left, and the one that heard the spiel is still there. If it's the other way around, oh, you're back. That was a really short practice. And I imagine you're amongst your team. Like I said, oh, it got canceled. Okay. Are you using headphones out of curiosity? And yeah, as much as I want to say, tell your friends, like I say, whole team of you, even if you're all cool, and I'm sure you are, might be a bit much for me, especially of that group, that range, Yeah, yup. I love that. Yup, yeah. Yup. like the yogurt bread. Yop. So doesn't seem like any song ideas are coming. And sorry that it was canceled, but hey, works for me. Means we can chat more. um, New person. What do you mean? I'm confused. What you're saying, but oh, at the top, right? Yeah, they seem a little bit shy so far, but that's okay because I know you're not. And yes, if you want to change your username in, I guess it's your account on her phone. And she probably thinks you're playing some sort of educational game. Well, I'm talking about the educational game called life, I suppose you could say. What? Huh? Wait a minute. What does that stand for? I'm acting perplexed because, in my view, in my streaming mode view, whatever you want to call it, I see your comments. I see it says 2 viewers and 5 likes. But whenever it says the viewers at the top, I'm not seeing what they're called because there's a lot of people, a lot of things on YouTube and a lot of people. And say there was 15 watching, I mean, I wouldn't be seeing, or 5 even, I wouldn't be seeing 5 names across my top of my screen. I mean, I've seen some people, and I don't know what I feel about it, where they have their chat displaying in the side and then also on the actual video screen. But ANVB and America's Funniest Videos, AFV, yeah, uh, is a familiar name with somebody else that I follow. And it sounds like every now and then he tries to talk to me, but I don't see his comments. And I think he accidentally got blocked. Um, oh, so maybe that's what it is. Well, but then he's not blocked if he's, unless there's a difference between blocking and hide from channel. It's only blocking I put other the options. He's not blocked if he's seeing this. If he's seeing this, he's not blocked. I'm confused. But maybe you're seeing him in the chat. And I guess he's hearing it. So either you haven't minded that I'm not reading your comments, or that other person the other day, was it Gerald maybe, had said that, I think had relayed a little bit. He said that we were both asking him the same questions, like almost at the same time. Uh, so maybe his or hers or theirs, I'm not sure. Um, I'm very perplexed about this. I guess this is normally when, well, locally, when Maxie would be rolling. I'm curious what you think of the movie Maxie and Me, by the way. If you want to look it up on YouTube later and get back to me on that, I'd really like to know that. But yeah, that's odd because I don't know how to undo it. That's the thing. If I've ever figured it out at one point in time, I forget. So I don't know how to undo it. I appreciate you relaying for us, but has he put other comments? Because yeah, I'm not seeing them. I'm so confused. Maybe it's the features being wonky, or maybe he had me blocked and he undid it. That could be what it is. But still, why am I not seeing his comments? Is he saying anything other than hi? Which sometimes YouTube automatically just kind of says, like maybe like they put a wave or whatever. Either way, I now know who's both here now, and I'm glad to have you here. Up and now it just says one. He's like, this is weird. He can't see my comments. And that's unfortunate because he seemed curious about me. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. He seemed curious about me, and I see people talking with him in Maxie's chat, so must be pretty cool. Oh, but either came back or somebody else is here. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, if it was him that blocked me and he's undone it, I'm still not seeing his comments. And that's the only way it makes sense to me. And that makes me annoyed. I'd like to be able to see his comments or their comments. But I'm seeing yours, so we'll go with that. So what else have you got going on today out of curiosity? And yeah, we kind of talked about what you thought about parrots. Um, I am a little tired. I don't necessarily want to have more coffee. Tired. Do you know what that is at your age? No, I'm just kidding. But at the same time, um, we all get tired and we all need sleep. But I see people younger than me and the energy they have sometimes. I mean, so do I. My phone's on 3%. So I think that makes sense to me as far as what that could mean. In which case, you're in a car, 4%. It went up one, or you typed it wrong. Okay, well, then you might not be here much longer unless you're almost home and you rush to plug it in and it doesn't die in the process. Present percent, I know what you mean. Um, Let me try and summarize, or at least this one chat that I was in earlier. Um, right. I was talking with someone last night and a little bit this morning, and one of the things we were talking about was autism. And he seems to be saying the types are not what level you have, it's how much support you need, which makes sense. Um, but well, if I'm going to be completely honest, and why not? I'm not going to say who he is, but I am going to say that he seemed to. He introduces himself with the detail of being bisexual, but he says that's just because that's what people understand when it's really more complex than that. And he said something the other day like he's a little bit gay and a little bit straight, and I says that would be bi or pan, like. And I says you seem like you might be in denial of, maybe you accept it, but for some reason you don't want to call yourself that very strongly. Oh, you left, or you're leaving. Oh, but maybe just because you're at 4%, or is it something I'm saying? Anyway, point of the matter is he says he's not. He just doesn't like labels. And then he kind of, I asked him, I says, well, you said that you are autistic and you seem to accept having that label. And he says, that's not a label. That's it. I know the prosecution. What do you mean by that? And he says, that's not a label. That's a diagnosis. And I says, I see them actually as kind of similar. As percent. Okay. um, well, hopefully, I don't know. Part of me wants to make this a real long podcast. It's doing all right. And if you come in, maybe go back to Bruce or some other name that you create. If you come back later, I may or may not still be rolling, depending on how much later. But part of me wants to roll for 3 hours. And I'm already almost at 2 hours. And I think you accidentally unliked just now. I hope it was accidental. Okay, you put it back. Cool. Um, it's gonna die. Your phone. Yeah, I almost read that as I'm. Thankfully, you're not dying. You're too young. But yes. Um, and otherwise, you're at the 2 hour mark. If you want to come back and watch from that point later in the lives, uh, and I'm not deleting any comments, but they just might not show afterwards. So make note of the title of this one in your mind or whatever. And yeah, I'd love to have you back in the comment section. Like I say, I feel mixed personally about your username, and you seem to be open to exploring what you go by. So I'll be curious what you might go by later, whether it's whether it's Mr. Breast 2 again or something else. Sorry. I guess I am a boobs man, you know. I'm amused by the boobs. um, but more amused by that than what my friend says she's going out to do. She doesn't seem the type, and I'm a little bit disturbed by it, to be honest. Um, and she's a fairly good friend, and it's I already knew she did something kind of similar, and I looked past it because I figure a lot of people do, and I talked myself into it, but I don't know. And actually, a lot of kids do this particular something, and it's hard for me to imagine. But when they grow up with it, and it is in some ways a large part of being human, but it's not something that everybody does, and I feel mixed. I feel mixed, and I don't know if I want to say what it is or not. I don't want to, it's okay to have disagreements with people. That's something we learn in life. But some things are topics that are a little bit like, I don't know if I can accept that having, different viewpoints on certain things. And this one might be one of them. But I will say, though, that my other friend talking about the labels and the diagnoses and this and that, I did tell him I wasn't trying to be mean. We're just having a discussion. And even though we seem to have different viewpoints, that's an example of where I can maybe accept it. You know, so many of us are so eager to get answers for ourselves about the things that we're going through, whether it's a solution or a diagnosis. Like a lot of people, when they get diagnosed with a mental health condition, they say, well, I at least I know what to call it now, kind of thing. Um, and I get that, although there is also such a thing as misdiagnosis. There is such a thing as, and I think why that happens, I'll just say, I feel like often it happens because the person diagnosing, either one, just simply isn't very good at it. Two, and I'm not saying, none of us have all the answers, whether you're a super smart person with all kinds of degrees or not. Anybody can be smart, anybody can learn and grow and all that stuff. Uh, but I think some people that diagnose, like counselors, psychiatrists, they want to quickly find an answer. They don't even necessarily want to necessarily get to know the person. They just want to get an answer, give it to them because the person wants it, give them a medication. And I'm not saying people shouldn't take medications, but I don't. And I feel like, are you still here, Krishna? Are you really still at 4%, or did you plug in? Anyway, I feel like uh actually I almost kind of sounds like croissant too. I just realized that. um uh but at the same time, when we get diagnoses or accept something about ourselves, it's okay to say, okay, yes, that's true and accurate. That's a part of me, and I'm okay with it. You know, I think a lot of people have shame about the things that make them up. And for the most part, like when we're talking about a mental health condition, which a lot of times is based on genetics and things that you've gone through in your life. And this is about to be a very beautiful moment. And the person that was here doesn't look like you still are. Maybe you are. And you're not that old. But, and I'm just going to add it in the comment, for people to read. And then I have to briefly step away. But I just want people to know that Um, hey, I'll be back. I'll be back. And I'm back, and it looks like somebody's here, so that's cool. Happy to have you here. Um, I've narrowed things down a little bit. As far as the one topic, well, I did put some comments myself on the left. I was gonna say, I mean, if people want to talk about it, sure, but otherwise, I feel like I've kind of addressed that for now, and might want to look at kind of the other things other than song requests. But I put what I feel is a very beautiful few blurbs there to my viewers, which when you left, I don't like reading. Or I don't like reading. Maybe that's what more like. You could have let me correctly. No, I don't really feel like reading today. Can you just say it? But I've been talking for 2 hours. And before that, I did a half an hour, 45-minute one with a little bit of time in between. So, but I don't really have much I'm doing today. And it's, I'm having a little bit of chattings here and there, but it's otherwise something to do. Something to, make connect with people. I'm also I think I'm gonna have my lunch soon though. I do think that, and it's just gonna be heating up some food. Actually, I think I have some of the other similar stuff in that one, and that stuff should last. So I'm kind of finishing off that as kind of that anyway. It's not like he's watching that closely or looking at me. But curious about what I'm eating. If I want to eat it, I'll eat it. He hasn't asked what the leftovers are, but I did say that I got noodles and rice, which might seem a little odd, but basically it was one of those food kiosks in a shopping center, and basically they said I got two sides, and I was hemming and hawing, and some of the other options were more chicken, and I said, "Can I get a little rice?" She gave me quite a bit and said, "And you want to pick something else?" and didn't charge me for it. And then I also acquired something else, which might be what I give my mother later, from my hamper the other day. So, but I've kind of got food on my mind, but I also kind of got doing a song request if you've got one. I also kind of got, like you say, I put some things that I personally think, and maybe you'll agree, are quite beautiful that I wrote to our viewers here in the side chat. And there have been some people here, but they aren't here right now, except I do notice that there's one at the moment. So happy to have you here. Curious if you've ever been to this channel before and how you came across it. And okay, and that chat's done. Basically, Thomas, who I met in somebody else's chat, did respond to my "Did you like it?" because he kind of didn't say much. Well, he said a little bit, and I didn't know. And he says, "I would like to hear more music. Don't be angry. My English is just not so good. I will check again another time," which means yes. And I do find it kind of interesting because I'd asked if he had songs. A and V. I'm seeing your comment. I'm seeing your comment. It's nice that you have that option and that you thought to do that. If you haven't liked, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm so confused. What happened there? I don't need to re-say it because that's really odd. Thanks for the like. Unless YouTube thought, well, this comment's already been blocked once, but this channel, or this person, but this channel that they're on hasn't been, so I guess we'll let them move, but not. Anyway, here you are. We might not have some things, just you won't have an answer for, so there's no point looking for them. And some things, if you think about something enough, you'll come up with an answer. I mean, whether it's overthinking or thinking something through, but we don't have to with this. It's all good. Um, so you've been here almost this whole time and just having a relaxing day at home. That's cool. You're from Maxie's chat, right? Where in the world are you watching from? And what is ANVB, out of curiosity, if you don't mind saying? Oh, now I'll join later or maybe next stream with this channel that you're on using now. Would make most sense, I guess, then. Um, but yeah, curious where you're watching from, if you want to say what that stands for. And love me on. Now, when you say you love me on piano, are you talking about videos where you see me in the video or just hear the piano? Because that might be the G and the G and C. If it's classical, that's not what I play. That's not me. That's the other person on this channel. If you've actually seen me in it, and either way, we thank you. You're from India. It's actually a full name. Okay. And I always like Indian names. Have you watched my videos before? I have a feeling you maybe have. So you've maybe seen me play the singing bowls. I think Glenn wants to podcast tonight, although it's supposed to be I just said his name. It's supposed to be a rainy weekend. So but there's a song that he's like, I guess he's been playing it a lot and he's kind of getting bored of it. So he wants to podcast it before he's bored of it or something like that, he said. But it's supposed to be a rainy weekend. So I think that I might prefer to suggest that you do it then and maybe also play some various flutes, including Indian flute. Do you remember what I was playing? And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I put a little blurb in the comments just above about though people, whether you or a loved one struggles with mental health. I put into words. I don't know how to put into words what I put into words, but you can see it there right above A and B's comment. It's the one that says, and I remember I met somebody from India via his chat before, and the guy played guitar in a band, but not currently. And we chatted back in the day. I don't know if that was you or not. I would also suggest maybe using this account when you're, I mean, yes, I mean, I'll say more, and I already say lots, but when you're on Mashie's chat, because then I'll see what you're saying. Because I sense you've been trying to reach me sometimes and not been able to. But yeah, basically, I'll read the first part of it. You can read the stuff after that because I am a little low on energy. But if I take a breather and I take a drink, I can maybe also take a song request. I can maybe also touch on some of the other topics mentioned there. But basically, it starts with in the chat panel there. And I also want to try and remember to do this because I want to put it there afterwards in case chat doesn't show. And actually, that's a bit of a typo. It's supposed to say, please know it's not your fault. It's not an easy journey, and it's genetics and environment and life experiences. I'm sure you are likely doing your best, and I pat you on the back, not put you on the back. It does feel interesting to verbalize this, I must say, or a high five, a hug, thumbs up, whatever works for you. It's really good what you're doing. What kind of work do you do? Okay, sounds good. You're learning guitar, but not in a band. I'd love to be in a band again. Guess you don't remember what I was playing on the piano, eh? Or what I said it was called, even if you'd never heard it. I would love to teach you guitar, by the way. Do you have videos on this channel? I might be curious to check them out. And if you have your email on this channel, we could arrange for guitar lessons. That would be lovely. It's one thing I want to be doing more. So you could say I'm looking for students, but I'll say it. And on the other channel, not that I can view it, but yeah. Well, next time when you're watching or this one, if there's nobody else here, I might share my email with you and we could chat that way. I've done that with a couple people. three, I think, total. And one of them actually kind of reminded me of the most recent one, but it's the very opposite kind of thing happening with that one than what happened with the other one. And with that one, it's mostly going well. And the other one never comes to see my stuff. So I feel like I used to go to his stuff and chat all the time. He never comes to mine. And I know he travels a lot, but it's like, what the heck? And actually, he travels to India a lot. He might actually be of of a Middle Eastern background. I'm pretty sure. And last time I talked with him, he was going to Japan, and he was, I don't know where he currently was at the time. He's a bit of a gypsy, and he plays music as well. And I think he's just learning, but I'm not sure. But I don't think that's you. Yeah, especially since you said your name is Anabhab. I love how that sounds. It's poetic. Anabhab. And that's only part of it, I think, because there's other letters, but you don't have to tell me all of it unless you want to. I love the Mandeep Subdeep names, and talking about names and cultures. I was talking with my mother about that the other day. It's quite interesting. Well, maybe you'll post at some point. I hope you enjoy the rest of your workday, whatever kind of work you do. It must be pretty late in India. And yeah, we'll talk later. Means to feel, and as Ray would say, and as I say, and as other people may say, it's good to feel the feels. Not always comfortable, not always easy. Makes me think of that nobody hugged him. But it's a good thing to keeping it inside isn't good either. So as long as you are doing so in healthy ways, whether that's a hobby that brings you healing, um, connecting with others, um, through music and whatever, uh, because we will all experience hard things and pain. It looks like you both left now, but that's okay. I know one of you had to, and the other one maybe two. But and it's a big but. um, working with those feelings and also trying to be positive and all that is also really great. So as much as I could keep rolling and see who comes in next, and that would be really cool. This video's got a few likes. About 4+3 afterwards, and it's got a handshake and a smile and a high five and a. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Really good what you're doing, and by that I think it just is meaning, aside from when I do music, being there to uplift people and share the human experience. I mean, that's what living is. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't always feel as connected as we'd like to be in life. So social media can help, you know, and it has a lot of good things about it too. At the moment, though, I do feel like I, I'm happy with these numbers. If more like and comment and subscribe, that's cool. But I do feel like I kind of want to go upstairs, cuddle with the dog a little bit, have my lunch, have my cake and eat it too. I do have cake, but I think I'll have it after a nap later. Um, I have somebody I have to try and reach on the phone soon. I have some other reading to do and some other videos to watch. And I may or may not go for a bike ride. Um, and I'm going to try and forget that I just found out that a pretty good friend of mine has a hobby that I don't really think it's a mixture of it's kind of healthy, kind of not, but it creates vivid imagery for me that I don't like experiencing. I guess that's what it is. And I don't have to do the hobby to notice that. And I'm also a little bit surprised that she does, but considering she does something kind of similar, maybe I'm not. So, anyway, as much as I'm curious to see what another hour rolling live would be like, the statistics are good with this video. I know that I'll probably hear from A and BB a lot more, and the other person there that was chatting. Uh, all three of them sound like they'll be interested and curious to come back. And one of them's a new subscriber, I think. So um, I'm just going to read a little bit of the two very top comments that I put because I'm not sure. Am I seeing all of them? Yeah, because they might not show afterwards, and I wanted to encapsulate those other ones, and there's too much stuff in between them and this and that. Not that I'm complaining. So I think it was about love and respect. In the communication. You know, I haven't really received otherwise. I don't even see trolls that much, but hey, again, I'm not complaining. That's a good thing. Um, but it's just I feel like it's a reminder that I need to put there. And some people that don't stick around, maybe they strongly dislike something that they're you know getting from me, which might be misunderstood. Uh, and they just feel like, oh, I don't really. I would have a lot of negative things to say or feedback you might not like or whatever it is, and they choose not to, and I appreciate that. It's not that I can't take the feedback. I just don't feel like I hugely need it with a lot of what I'm doing. You know, feedback versus conversation. There is a difference. Um, but so yes, and sometimes it's how it's taken, sometimes it's how it's delivered too, but sometimes feedback can seem unkind, in general, you know. So, like I say, this channel is always about kindness and love and curiosity for the most part, and getting to know each other. So, and as this top comment says, just in case, like I say, it doesn't show afterwards, it just shows the non-live chat. Um, we all appreciate those things, don't we? I was just reminded about something. Did I go there too? If I don't do it today, I'll do it Monday. But I don't have time Monday, so maybe I will. But yeah, it's funny how I said it's too cold outside, it's too noisy. How did I word that? Too noisy, not too warm, to sit. Oh, okay. Um, that was kind of funny. We all want to or have one every now and then. It's mostly a rhetorical question, which almost typed as duck. Um, there was something from this chat earlier that I thought of and something I just said, so I thought, oh, I'll bring that in because that was kind of the intent with this video. But I'm not sure if I'm noticing it, so it might have to be later. Interesting though. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, and sometimes that doesn't mean I remember it or whatever. But I do remember I was downstairs at the time that it was said. So it's one of these bottom ones. Because otherwise, I was still in bed. That was one of G's thoughts. What's worse than having to get up for work in the morning, especially in the winter, I thought I typed, is not having. This was all bright and early. It was amazing what my head was doing this morning. Sometimes it's certainly more slow. Breathing life into phrases and maybe even phases. Something to do is something to don't. Deep ass morning. Hollywood has been, almost been, or could have been. I see those as the same. Yeah, this was all done before I got down from bed, so I'm just not seeing it right now, but I'll keep looking. He good looking, I'll keep looking. I can't believe I never thought of that before. Um, I shall make note of it. No, just kidding. But yes, I am trying to wrap this up, so just a moment. Nobody's here right now, but and like I say, even though to some people the number still might be considered relatively small, and I'm not saying I don't welcome more people to like and comment, I will say that I'm content. I think we had three or four different commenters. Um, that, like I say, plan to come back. A few likes. I won't complain. It's better than one or two or not much happening, you know. Uh, anyway, as all of us appreciate love and kindness when we get it, so it's good to give it to others. And you can say, some people may say, "Oh well, I do, but I don't know you." Well, good way to get to know somebody is by giving them love and kindness and empathy and understanding and curiosity about them and getting to know them and being open about yourself so they can get to know you. That's how it works, folks. This is coming from someone on the autism spectrum, but I think this makes a lot of sense. And some people may say I didn't have to be told that, I already know it, but sometimes a reminder is good. And I'm also just sharing how I see it. And I really don't think I'm the only one. And so, that's great because I think it's a good perspective. uh, it makes life and connecting more enjoyable. Find healing with each other as needed. And when I put caps, I write are never shouting, just emphasizing. I might put that afterwards actually. Multitasking while you watch is fine. As you multitask going about your day or being fully here for this. And here's me going about mine and doing a little bit of that. It's interesting that what's his face adjusted his or dare I say what's his face, but I think I can't remember. It was this is 37 minutes past. I think when I said this is where you left off, but I think he came back after that. He might have channel activity. I almost didn't think to do this, and then oops, I didn't mean to do that in a different tab. Okay, I got a gazillion things I want to do, so I got to wrap this up soon. But it's weird that the thing they previously went by still shows with the same previous picture, unless they've changed it back. I'll look in a minute here. And they were trying to describe. He was trying to describe his picture. Okay, wait. Okay, please wait. Okay. I think maybe they were maybe panicking that I had said I thought you might be a troll, and maybe he didn't know that I realized that that wasn't the case. kind of as quickly as I did. And he was like, wait, no, I'm not. Wait, let me prove it to you. I don't have big, tall, colorful neon hair. um, do I ever have something interesting to say about food? I know it sounds a certain way, but nobody's here to hear it anyway. But the answer is yes, I do. I think maybe he was asking that again once you changed it. And yeah, no, now it's well, yeah, it's showing both. I don't know why. Once you changed it. It's weird. This one's his account. But anyway, I think it was late. Yeah, I think it was in the evening here, and possibly there. Not my channel, not my channel. What do you mean that? I don't know what that means. It's his phone, not his channel. Unless he means no, his channel. Is it channel randomly? I think I may leave because I have to go back to practice. Just kidding. Now it says there's a connection issue, so that's a good time to stop, I think. Oh, no, but now it's fine again, which was kind of an awkward spot. So even though it is 2 hours and 40 minutes in, little harsh, but they're good parents. But that's so fun. I hope you have a great day today. Today. Oh, you can go. Oh, I can give you a tip, but all right. I don't know if that meant a money tip, and for someone of that age, I'm thinking probably not. I don't know what tip it was. I don't know if it was based on something I just said. I just don't know. I just don't understand life and like more stuff. I don't know how to put that. He says he's in his car, but at his age, I think it would more likely be his parents. You know, so I kind of addressed the age thing when he told me so. And somebody says I'm back hoping doing a podcast. I wonder who that was. I'm curious by songs. You can just accept that I don't like metal, jazz, or blues. I said that already. Back, it got canceled. Yeah, yup. And then he was saying there's a new person at the top. He was noticing, maybe because I often kind of mention it, or just he was noticing. And that was kind of cool because he let me know that his name is this. Assuming it's a his, I mean he's male, but the other one we can't say everything badly, if it isn't actually, as far as like, youth and technology. Just sitting. Then not long after he left, just making sure I did get this, and do I want to try and get all of it? Yeah, I can because there's no character rule with a comment. Tell me I can go to my own channel. Why the heck would I want to do that? I bet you it's cool, but I don't know. Yeah, and that person was there pretty much the whole time. Now I need to go for now. I'll join later, or maybe next week, or join this one later. He meant, but I have a feeling since it wasn't that long ago that he left, and I'm going to be wrapping up soon. It won't be this one. But watch, somebody will tune in right as I'm about to and say hi, and I will hate to wrap up then. But this has been a long one, and I did do another shorter one this morning, and I'm tired. I got myself kind of. Well, I had an amazing amount of energy this morning, and after processing, anyway, I don't exactly know where it came from, but I was having so much fun. Like I say, I had to come here and share it with you. On YouTube. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. I like what my hair is doing. Blah, 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 blah. And if you're jealous, know that I don't always feel this way. I'm human too, okay? But we got to enjoy when we do, man. And like I say, if it brings joy to other people too, I tell you, some people need it. That's for sure. For various reasons. Um, it would have been nice to have found out where that person was from, though. Just, for curious reasons. For Curious George, he was asking, why'd you tell Jane in heaven? Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, I've never seen that. Oh, right, maybe that's right. Uh, most of these I did address, but I just wanted to make sure I got all of them, relive them, and just in case they don't show afterwards. I need a massage, just so you know. I'm sore and achy, and I do and don't feel like it's because of, you know, getting so into this podcast. Like, I don't know, like the body reacts to the feelings that you're having and, the energy that you're exerting, right? But no, I think it's just my arthritis and my bad back and the fact that I'm getting old. So I play the piano on sharp video. It was really good. I love music. Not bad. I have a little work to do now. I'm trying to leave it real. Really good what you're doing. I don't post anything. Not that talented. To go, bro. Calling. I'll chat with you later. Okay. Cool. Sayonara. Talk to you later. I hope everybody has a great day. That you've got some joy from this and are healing or both. Let me know. And until next time, take care.